What's up, Panther Nation? We are back with a brand new live stream. This is the start of the off season, and the topic is where do we start? So, from this point on, we've got a whole big list of free agents that are set to hit the market that are Panthers right now. Um, and I'll get to that list in a minute. But I was told by Jake Parker that we are sitting at 26 million in cap right now. We can save money by cutting Torrey Smith, Cersei, and Cockrell. That saves us up to an additional 10 million. Uh, and Dontari Poe, if he was cut, would save us an extra 4.5. Um, so that's a total of 40.5 million with Ryan Cole retiring. Uh, he feels that Thomas Davis would be able to come back cheaper for 1 year, and I agree with that. Um, I think that's a good move. We've also got some other topics to get to as well. Um, but the main one being Ron Rivera is coming back next year. That's what we're hearing. So I don't know how to feel about that one right now. I'm about 50-50 on that decision, whether I like that or not. Um, I was not thrilled with him last year with the timeout issues, and I was not thrilled with him this year either with his decision making. So there's pros and cons to it. The pros being that it we keep the structure that we originally had, um, and also he knows what he's doing. Realistically, he knows what he's doing. He just makes bad decisions at the wrong time, and I can't stress how dangerous that is to a team's success down the stretch. Um, One thing I do want to mention is that we did fire wide receiver coach Lance Taylor today. Now, I don't know what that's about. I don't know whether that was due to wide receiver issues or what was going on with that. But yeah, we did fire him today, and that's something I'm questioning right now, and I'd like to know what's going on with that. Um, so getting back to what Jake says, he says the priorities should be Daryl Williams, re-signing him. Um, and if he's signed, then we need to go defensive end first round. If not, then offensive line in first round. And I agree with that. And I will add on that we want to go corners, cornerbacks for third and fourth round. That worked the last time, and I think we're going to get some success out of that this time too. That'll be 3 years of success where we get a solid corner, one out of the two every year. I support that decision. I think that's a good move, and I want to see that continue until we don't need one for depth reasons. So, another thing that I noticed was Gilbert was cut. The only healthy quarterback on our depth chart was cut after the last game. Why? Okay, here's my beef with this. If this training staff cannot find an answer for Cam's shoulder, Taylor Heineke now has an elbow injury or an arm injury. We're not sure which. If anybody could correct that in the comments below, that would be great. But yeah, that's and now Kyle Allen is hurt as well. So what if we can't fix Cam's problem? What makes you think we could fix the others? Why would you cut the only man that is healthy in our entire roster? I got that notification during the New Year's party and I was just livid. I was livid. Like that almost killed my mood. It almost did. I'm not going to lie, cuz that's a major move right there for our franchise moving forward. Now, I will say when Kyle Allen is healthy, I would like to see him get number 2 spot. But Taylor Heineke and Gilbert should be fighting for that number 3 draft spot, depth chart spot. I mean, next year. That's what I would like to see. Now, will that happen? I doubt it, knowing our management, but we'll see. That's what I would like to see happen. So, going through the quarterbacks, we've gotten that issue discussed now. So, let's and I agree with everything that Jake said, by the way. He's right. That's a major amount of free agent money that we can use to resign people with and draft with. He feels that we should build through the draft. Uh, I say let's wait and see what ends up on the free agent market as well. Um, because that's going to be a big key to what we decide to do draft wise. So here's the list. You may not agree with what I think we should do with these players, but I've been looking at this list rather extensively over the past week. Thomas Davis will probably come back for one more year. So will Peppers. So that's a 1 year contract for both. Mike Adams. He says he wants to play ball more. We'll see. I say 1 year deal. Uh, do we have a better option though? That's the question. You know, Cersei. I'm not feeling Cersei right now. I don't think he's the answer. Um, so safety position right now, I think just needs to because I'm not impressed with it. Um, New house. I don't understand why everybody's hyping him up. He did a bad job this year, and I would say cut. It gives us free money. It helps us out. Now, Eric Reed. You guys have heard me say this at least a half a dozen times over the past 5 weeks. We need to re-sign Eric Reed. 3 year deal. That needs to happen. Point blank needs to happen. Funches. I'd say give him one more year, but I don't see him as a number one wide receiver. I say don't don't push that one. We can draft a wide receiver, or we can pick one up in the free agent market that I think will be a clear number one. And the one being talked about recently was Antonio Brown, and that's why I haven't mentioned him up until just now because I wanted to cover number one wide receiver as a whole. Um, so Antonio Brown wants to get let go by the Steelers. He's having issues with Big Ben and Mike Tomlin. So there's a divided crew here in the fan base. Some want to see him come. Some want to see him not come. They think he'll bring added drama. Uh, I don't know, man. I say bring him in. If we can get a solid number one wide receiver for cheap, and we can start spreading that money out to other players that uh, need that money more to secure a contract, then I would say yeah, do it. But it all depends on how much you ask for. But I definitely say pick up the phone and get in touch with the man. Let's see if we can get something going. Um, so moving on down the list, we got Fozzie for one year suggestion. That's what I think we should get him for. I like him. I want to see more of him. I don't want to toss him just yet. Colin Jones, I say keep him for 1 year unless we can find something better. But I definitely suggest we draft a safety in the draft. As far as when, I don't know. But hopefully we should be able to get something early. Otherwise, we're going to be settling. And I prefer not to settle at safety position again. That's one thing I don't want to see anymore. Um, Kyle Love signed him for 3 years. That needs to happen. Chris Clark, cut him. Silatulu, 1 year deal, I think, is suitable for him. Everybody on the offensive defensive line needs to show next year that they belong in a starting position. Otherwise, we don't need to be wasting money on talent that's not going to produce for us. Um, yeah, and I did have my issues with Clark this year, and after researching, and hearing about how offensive linemen are supposed to block certain areas, instead of certain people, I did kind of cut the slack back on Clark a little bit. But yeah, I still say cut because he did commit some penalties and it delayed our progress on drives. It killed some drives actually before they ever got started. Um, so there's Silatulu, 1 year deal, which I mentioned already. Mayo, David Mayo, 2 years. I like David Mayo and I think he's solid, and I think he could be a solid backup for us. Cameron Artis Payne, 1 year deal, and I'm going to change that to 2 year deal because of what I saw in that last game. I think he's got potential, and I'd like to see more of him. Um, there were a few players that showed up on this list that did not show up on another one. So, Vanderleen, Norris, Brian Cox Jr., Gilbert, Frazier, Obata were the ones that showed up on the list that my friend did not give me yesterday. So, like, those names were not on that list. So, and I'm not sure what the status is of their contracts or what the deal is there. But I can go ahead and run through those anyway. There's a few more names that we'll run through. Um, so Vanderleen, I say cut him. Not impressed. Norris, 1 year deal. Brian Cox Jr., 2 years. I feel like is appropriate. Gilbert got cut, as I mentioned earlier. Frazier, 1 year deal. As far as I'm concerned, the wide receivers are not getting open enough for my taste. I think, we've had a lot of trouble, and Cam's been sitting back there for way too long in certain situations. even on short and medium passes. He's been sitting back there for way too long, and I think that's dangerous. Obata absolutely earned 3 year deal. The Panther page just put out a video for Effie. Helping out, bringing two kids over from London. To hang out with him in Charlotte. So that was kind of cool. I'm sure many of you have probably seen that video already. If you haven't, then go check that out. That's on YouTube. It'll probably be showing up on Facebook pretty soon if it hasn't already. So go check that out. That's a pretty heartwarming story there. I think he's a great guy. He did a great job and he made the most out of his opportunities. I like him. He's a great locker room influence too. He's got that passion, he's got that energy, he's got that heart that this team has been lacking for the past 7 games of this year. And I could not be more thrilled to suggest a 3 year contract for him. I feel absolutely happy to do so. So Jamal Jones cut. Parms I mentioned earlier. 1 year deal, perhaps someone better through the draft or free agency will be preferable. Uh, Elijah Hood, the running back, cut him. Taylor Hearn, I say 1 year. And Kenjon Barner, I say 2 years on him. I like the potential of Kenjon Barner. I like how he's been producing so far in the past 2 to 3 years. However long he's been with us, I don't remember how long, but I like what I've seen so far, especially in training camp last in August. Um, so here's the rest. Travaris Cadet, he's a running back. Don't know anything about him. I say cut him. Catanzaro, here's the deal. All right, before I get into Catanzaro, I'm going to finish off this list real quick. Wes Horton, we definitely need a 2 year deal for him. I've been impressed with his work ethic on the field during games in the last 3 or 4. So keep him around. Ben Jacobs. I'll get to him in a second. After I get to Catanzaro. Catanzaro. Here's the deal. Now, I don't know what the deal is with Gano's health right now, so this is not a good idea to keep him around right now. But, I'm going to wrap up this live stream. Remember to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you know when my live streams are going live. Ben Jacobs, keep him for 2 years. That's my suggestion. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Keep pounding.